was a bit of a scary slide for me. This is a Ford GT40, but not as you know it, because it's a car that's been built by Everrati and it has 2 electric motors producing 800 horsepower. And guess what? Today, we're going to get to drive it. Yes, this is a continuation car for the iconic MkII GT40, the Ford racing model that didn't just win at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1966, but absolutely obliterated the competition, which, you might know, included the then seemingly unstoppable force of Ferrari. The MkII GT40 ended the Italian outfit's 6-year streak of dominance at Le Mans, with its mix of a British-developed chassis and a big block American V8 for sublime mid-engine handling and close to 500 horsepower. It is a legend of motorsport, so fair play to Everrati for daring to re-engineer that winning formula. I cannot emphasize to you how much of the real deal this thing is. Not only has the chassis and bodywork been built using the original blueprints of the GT40 Mark II by the team in South Africa at Superformance, but it's also registered as a genuine continuation car at Shelby, which means it isn't an old model that's been stripped and pulled apart and had its engine replaced with batteries. No, this is an all-new car from the ground up. So much so, in fact, that Everrati have been able to put their own spin and their own tune on this formula. What we have is 2 electric motors at the rear of the car, split by a central differential. Together, they produce 800 horsepower and 800 newton meters of torque, which I'm still trying to get my head around. The car overall weighs about 1,400 kilograms, but crucially, the weight distribution is almost bang on what the original was. We've got 40% of the weight at the front and about 60% at the rear, and that's largely thanks to the fact that where the old fuel tanks would have been, down into the doors and into the sills there, we now have 2 batteries and then another one in the back closer to the motor. 62 kilowatt hours is the battery specification, and I just can't get my head around how much this thing looks like the original car. It is, as far as I can see, identical in appearance, and I'm told it's just as much as a handful. And I think I'm going to find that out on track. Right, let's do this. This is an experience and a half. My God, this car feels so alien and so different to anything else I've driven. It's proper prototype in form, and my God, that torque is so instantaneous. This thing is rapid. Okay, so GT40 as a chassis. This car, we know it is a tremendous racing car and racing chassis. And now, with a pair of electric motors in the back, Everrati have turned it into a car with an amazing lineage, an amazing history, but can now be certified for the future. Because this setup maintains so much of that original balance, I guess I'm having a proper prototype Ford GT40 experience here. There's no power steering, there's no servo on the brake, it's so heavy, there's no ABS. And the instantaneousness of that torque means, effectively, I am wrestling this thing around. It's very greasy out here, and as we know, Rockingham can be extremely challenging in the greasy weather we often get at this time of the year. But actually, while I'm not confident enough to give it the full throttle just yet, I can feel that it actually does put the power down quite nicely. Now, Everrati tells me that they've been really focusing on ironing out the details. They've managed to basically make this car usable to the average punter at 440k, excluding VAT. This is very much a product for those at the higher echelons of society. But if you've got the cash, this is such a unique experience. It's running on period Avon tyres. All right, they're modern in construction, but the tyre pattern on them is, of course, how it would have been back in the 60s when these cars were racing with those monstrous Ford V8s. Oh, they're sliding around so much, but it's still just about manageable. A bit of understeer there, but the balance is so lovely. And even with these tyres not being a modern construction, they're actually quite grippy, very soft, because they've come up to temperature I can feel pretty quick.
I'm taking wet lines. If you're wondering why I'm missing all the apexes, it's because the inside is like ice on loads of these bends. So I just don't want to put this car on a slippery patch and have a moment when there's 800 Newton meters of torque to manage. It's just so lovely on turning now. I can try and explain to you what the balance is like. Coming into this hairpin, hard on the brakes, weight pulls over the front onto the car. It means I'm not actually struggling as I thought I would with only locking wheels. Despite this car being very, very analog, it's actually really quite easy to manage the brakes. And it also, mid-corner, has a lovely neutral balance. They've actually kept the weight distribution, as I said, really close to the original. And you can feel it as the car gets through the middle of the corner. You get this lovely sense of rotation, but not spiky, it's not on edge. It's nice, it's actually really playful. And then, on corner exit, you've got 800 horsepower to manage. 800 Newton meters of torque as well, which is the figure that really had me not sleeping very well last night. It does move around on you. Do you know what as well I've noticed is it's not very stiffly spun. They've got a custom suspension setup on this car, as you would imagine, given the weight's different to how it would be had it had a V8 engine. Even though down here and down there are where the batteries are, and the weight distribution is close, obviously this is heavier than the normal car, or the petrol-powered stuff you would get from Superformance. So they've had to obviously give it a totally unique suspension setup. The chassis settings, everything, even camber and everything on this car will be tuned by Everrati, set up as they want it, and they know what they're doing. I was speaking to the team and they are so passionate. I mean, the excitement on their faces when they saw me get in the car was infectious. You could just see this is a team. All right, yes, it's a business and it has to sell cars, but it's a team of passion. And that really comes through. Even the design and the details in this car are just spectacular. You've got dials across this interior here, which mimic those of the original, but of course they've been bespoke designed so that they show features that are relevant to an electric car. I've got a kilowatt hour outage or kilowatt on my dash in the center where the rev counter would be. And I've got battery voltage. I've still got temperatures and stuff. I mean, this is very much the development car. Starts to rotate mid-corner at, I don't know what speed that is, 100 odd. Oh God, that's... But it feels all as special and as magical as the original, but it's electric. And do you know what? It's got 150 kilowatt charging capability, which means you can go from 10 to 80%, the team reckon, in as little as 20 minutes. My God, that slides fast. So it charges like a modern electric car. The range, if you're driving a bit more sensibly than I am now, about 160 miles they reckon is combined. Get even more if you're in town. And there's no reason, because this car has a Bluetooth system, it has a sound system, it's got fairly comfortable seats. I'm laying down, I'm basically in a bed while driving this car, just like the originals, and it's really snug in here, which is a good thing because it feels awesome. And I've got the gurney bubble up here, which is true to the original, but yet it still feels comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's riding too firm. Yeah, it's a bit firm, but it doesn't feel harsh. And when I've sort of rubbed a curb on the edge sometimes, it doesn't really bite you. It's lovely. I feel like you could drive this around and enjoy it. Drive it to the pub. Take the kid in the passenger seat. Have a real GT40 experience, but with zero tailpipe emissions. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was a bit of a scary slide for me. So let's spin it around. There we go. Doing a 360 in a GT40 electric. Wow, what a car. Oh my God. That's brilliant, isn't it? Don't do that at home, kids. Oh, that torque is addictive and a bit terrifying. Oh, what a machine. Everrati, you guys, legends. Wow, what an experience. I never thought I'd ever get to drive a GT40, and this one is so unique and so special. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I haven't even talked about the looks. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? If I had the cash, I would be in the order books right away. I'm sure you agree. Do you agree though? Is this the one you go for, Everrati? Do other cars, they do Porsches, they've got a Land Rover coming up. Where would your electric classic money go? Let us know in the comments below, and of course if you enjoyed the video, do like it, and don't forget to subscribe as well. We'll be back here very soon, and guess what?
we're going to take this one out for a much faster lap for an upcoming video. See you soon.